people often feel that they kind of don't have a goal. They don't see themselves somewhere. I tell people, look around in life. Like when you find yourself smiling and you're not really sure why, stop and recognize and go, what am I smiling about? What is this feeling it's making me smile? What is the experience I'm having? What is the industry that I'm looking at that's making me smile? And if you're smiling or feeling good about something, that's the world telling you you're being driven towards that.
Welcome to Ignite Your Passion with me, Bonnie Lang. I can't wait till you get to know my guest, Ron Stone from Garage Oil Spirits. You are going to be so inspired, and you're going to want a sip of something. You'll see why. Take a listen. So it is such a pleasure to meet you. How's everything going?
I can't even tell you the euphoric feeling that we have with what's going on with Garage Oil and the movement and the excitement. So it's pretty dang exciting.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's just jump right on in then.
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I get to meet you today. It is such a pleasure. This is
Yes.
Ron Stone. Tell us where you're from and where you're living currently.
So I'm originally from Colorado and grew up there with the Midwest values. And then I got into the movie industry, TV industry there. And it just kind of blew up for me. It was the first thing in my life that really changed my life, that gave me a direction. I didn't grow up in a good situation. Life was extremely tough. In fact, I was homeless by 15 years old.
Oh my.
But I had a teacher in school in 8th grade who I was taking a drama class, first class like that I ever took. And he gave me so much encouragement, said he was never going to tell students at that age that they should pursue it as a career because they're too young. But he said, you ought to do this because you've got an aptitude for this. And it was the first time somebody ever told me I could do something. It gave me so much confidence. But life was tough at home. So that was Colorado. Then when I got into that movie industry, I started having successes, and I ended up being a writer, director, producer, editor, composer. I've traveled the world with films that I've produced and films I've been associated with. I've won awards all over the world for some of the stuff I've done. And so that was an unbelievable changing life experience for me. And then through it all, I ended up in Austin, Texas. And because there was a big movie studio that was going to be built down here, they didn't end up building it. So it's funny how life works out. But I ended up in Leander, Texas, which is where I live now, which is where I started Garage Oil.
That is incredible. Oh my gosh, I love it. Love it, love it. So tell us about Garage Oil Spirits.
Garage Oil, American badass whiskey. I love emphasizing the badass. I don't know if you've heard my radio commercials, but that's the way I hit that, man. If people just get a kick out of it, it's a fun brand and fun to say, fun to drink. So Garage Oil American Badass Whiskey is like no other whiskey in the world. And that's the truth. And the way that breaks down is the theme that it has, this bottle, this logo, the whole design, this is a thought out theme that had a purpose. This glass bottle is the same size of what a quart of oil used to be that we put in our cars with the spout that came out. So that's exactly the size of a quart of oil. This top neck piece is kind of like reminiscent of like what in 1920s and 30s gas globe would be on those old gas pumps, so they'd have extra advertising and people go down the road. Yeah. And then here, there's some ridges in this cap. This is a quart. And so that's like a piston. So the whole thing has a theme of this hot rod Americana. And in fact, the flavor that I created is called Hot Rod Smooth, and that's registered with the government. And why that's so unique and different is because I also was in the restaurant business as part of my life's journey. Did everything in that business as well, including a lot of chefy stuff. And I was always good with creating recipes and flavors. And so when I decided to go into the whiskey business, I decided I was going to take a completely different approach. And those two things were that theme, where it's treated almost like a character, where it has a full life about it, a full actuality of, like, for me, it was like writing, I've written over 13 feature films. It was like writing a script to create this character, this Garage Oil American Badass Whiskey. And in fact, I created a mythical character called Hot Rod Rick, which I play in music videos sometimes as a singer, Hot Rod Rick. But anyway, so that theme was like just different than any other kind of brand where it's just some, oh, Blue Ridge whiskey. Okay, well, that's fine. It's a name, but it doesn't mean anything for the world. American Badass whiskey gives people a feeling. They look at the nostalgic bottle, and that was on purpose. That when you think of nostalgia, when you go into your own memories of the good old days, that's exactly what you do. You think of the good old days, not the bad old days. So the label, because it has that retro feeling, it puts people into their own mindset of the good times. And that's a psychological thing that just starts from the subliminal standpoint. And that's how I used to approach scripts and writing characters. You got to put in the many layers of foreshadowing and subliminal layers so that people get a full realization of a life. So that was a different approach to whiskey. And then the second is there's a flavor profile, that Hot Rod Smooth flavor, that I took the approach that I was going to take whiskey and make it more approachable for more people, not by a new flavored whiskey like the cinnamon whiskeys or the peanut butter whiskeys, because I feel like, first of all, I don't think they're very good. And second of all, I think you kind of lock yourself into a small category of people that might like that flavor. So I approached it like it was a food item, and I was going to season it to make that food better. Like if I'm going to season a steak, I'm going to put on the right seasoning to make that steak better tasting, not cover it up because you're afraid of the taste originally. So I took the approach that I was going to take the base great flavors of what a traditional whiskey flavor profile is, and then I would support them like a chef with other flavors that would lift those up. And in the process, I was able to learn how to reduce the burn quite a bit. So my Hot Rod Smooth flavor profile is not a flavor. It's actually a concoction of 9 pure flavor extracts, 9 separate flavors combined in a very specific measurement with this very specific whiskey. And you get a smooth whiskey that more people can drink because it's easy to drink. So the people that are not cool with that harsh whiskey can drink it. And then the hardcore whiskey drinkers love it because it's completely the soul of original whiskey. It's just a little brighter and smoother. So that's what's cool and different about Garage Oil American Badass Whiskey.
I love it. We had spoke before this interview, and I'm just like, I'm inspired. I haven't gotten a glass yet, but I am ready to go buy a bottle of it to try it because of your passion about it and how you describe it. And I'm not a whiskey drinker. No.
Yeah.
I'm more of a, I might like wine, I might like a beer or a mixed drink, margarita, anything. But I really would love to try this because that's my thing, is the burn. I don't like that burn.
Right. I get that all the time. Well, listen, Bunny, you have a song called Driveway Drinking, and the next time you're driveway drinking, it better be with some garage oil.
I will do that, and I'll post it and send it to you. I sure will.
So can I tell you something I love about what you're doing and the theme of what you're doing, and really getting to the heart of what makes people tick and having passions for things. I'm a person that I just feel I cannot get up in the morning and not feel that I have a sense of purpose. I feel like I've got to know there's a reason to be here. I've got to do something to contribute in this life while I have it. And passion is probably the fuel that I count on the most to propel me into my future, the things I want to do. That spark is passion. And as that first time we spoke on the phone, and I was kind of giving you a little backstory with my movie industry, and I won't go too much into detail because it's too long of a story, but I had a really, really awful divorce that ended up with somebody being able to manipulate all the money that we had accumulated over the years, and all my years of over 30 years in the movie industry, while I was out of the country, was able to manipulate all the bank accounts and take every single dime, and then was able to get away with that because I, as the owner of the company, had no paychecks coming in, because when you're the owner, there's nobody else paying you. So because she was able to manipulate that money into other bank accounts while I was out, I was actually in Singapore, then I couldn't actually even fight in court. I had no ability to hire a lawyer. I had no money. Literally I went from a few $1,000,000 to zero in one day.
Oh,
And
God.
it was so heart-wrenching because to do what I do with, and that film that I was doing was out there around the world, winning these awards everywhere. It's an action adventure teen comedy, and it was wins in London and New York and Singapore and LA, all these places. And so I had this really amazing little product out there that now I have no way to market it. So there's no way to even release it on a level that could be worth anything. And then I'm stuck where I can't make another film because I have absolutely no resources. You can't just make a film in like a month and then try to get back to making money. It takes a couple of years to develop them and get them financed and get them out to the world. It's 3-4 years down the road before you see money from a film project. So I knew I was in trouble. So I said, okay, what do I do right now in my situation where this thing I've worked for all my life seems to be gone? And I'm telling you, the mental aspect of that was so heart-wrenching and destroying that I literally fell into a depression that I've never ever known before. I'm not a depressed person. Everybody has their bad days, but I'm a super glass half full guy, and I always have been. And I just approach life with a real zeal. But for the first time, because I'd lost everything, and the divorce was emotionally heart-wrenching, and then financially and physically, all these things, I literally was in bed, like just in a cave, and I was lost. I'd lost my purpose. And that's what I was saying before. I got to have purpose. So I was completely in the dark for the first time, complete darkness. Didn't even know if I wanted to be in this world anymore. It was so, I thought everything was gone. And then finally I smacked myself in the head and said, Ron, you've got all these skills. You may not be able to walk out the door tomorrow and just start making money, but you can start working on something that could turn into something big. So how do I take the skills that I have and now apply it to something different than the movie industry? And so I said, well, I also know the restaurant and bar industry very well. And I know that liquor is one of those industries that if you've got a popular product, it will always sell, always has from the beginning of time, forever and ever, whether it's bad times or good times. People are going to buy liquor. They're going to celebrate with it, and they're going to commiserate with it. So I knew liquor was an industry that I could do, but I didn't know. I never made whiskey, and let alone create my own flavor. But I approached it as more of a marketing tool first, something I knew would sell, than even creating the flavor profile. So that's when I started coming up with this idea of it being like a character, and like how could it be an interesting product where we're not going to be able to compete with Jack Daniel's day one. So how do I get it on the shelves and have it speak for me when people walk by? So when you go by a liquor store and you see this bottle and there's nothing else like it, you might stop and look at that bottle. Matter of fact, you might pick it up. And if you do pick it up, they say in those liquor stores about 90% of the time somebody picks it up in their hand, they put it in their cart. So that's what I was trying to do to give myself a competitive edge right from the beginning. And I ended up realizing that all those years I spent, just cultivating my skills, making myself like I have a super creative nature to begin with, but I learned a lot of skills. I literally create music and edit films and create shots and create and do cinematography, and I'm a director and writer. So I learned everything about that business, and I am super, super high creative. So I thought, let me pour that into this somehow. And then I realized, holy crap, all of that I learned all these years and I was so depressed I thought was gone is what makes Garage Oil so unique, so exciting, so different. And then my marketing approach to it isn't like other brands. It's so full of joy and fun and excitement and coolness. And so I realized, holy crap, all this led me to this. And this is going to be one of those deals that it'll outlive me. It'll be there like Jack Daniel's been here for 200 years. This will be here long before we're gone. And it will be one of those household names that was created out of this, deep, dark time in my life when I had to say, what's in my soul? And once I realized that I was creating a product that I could be proud of, then I absolutely fell in love with the idea of turning it into something amazing throughout the world. And so my whole heart and soul became attached to this. It's my flavor in here. These are my designs. Everything you see about it is hand drawn originally. So this is my passion now that's stronger than anything ever. And I want to take that passion and not only turn into a big company that employs a lot of people, does a lot of great things,
Yeah.
but the bigger picture is that eventually this company, this product is known for really giving back and making the world a little bit better if we can while we're here. Charitable work. I love animals,
Yes.
helping people. So that's what the bigger deal is. And so now that dark time I was in, it's brighter than ever. I'm so full of life and energy, of passion for this that I mean, I want everybody in the world to feel it inside this bottle. So yes, your theme of passion that people that need in their life, I've right now I'm electrified with it.
I feel it. I feel the electricity. Oh my
Yeah,
God, it's incredible. Well,
yeah.
so what does your day look like?
You know, somebody was asking me yesterday, they want to contact me. They said, "What's a good time?" I said, "Hey, if my eyes are open, I'm working. There, there are no days off for me. This is so difficult to get something like this out in the world and make successful. It's literally 7 days a week, 24/7. I don't sleep very much. So I get up in the morning and I look at my to-do list and I add to that to-do list every day. And there were so many aspects of running and starting a new business like this, especially with this, where there's marketing and I'm creating other lines to go with it. So I'm always working on something and putting together ideas of how we get um, it into the hands of retailers and to different places in the country. So every day there is a massive, massive to-do list for me. So it's just a matter of getting up every day and prioritizing what's the most important on that list, knocking them off, and then moving to the next, and then adding 5 more for tomorrow. But when I talk about new things, this is really cool. Look at these babies right here. So these are the first lab test versions of my new ready to drink cocktails that goes with the whiskey.
Oh.
They'll come in a can, and they're called Can of Whoop Ass. so so right now I'm going through that process. The same thing I did with the whiskey, where I went through all those iterations of flavor profiles. And these now are what I'm testing to get to the final product for. The first one is the Badass Arita, and then the Sour Badass. So that's another extension of the brand. And then there'll be more things like that come out. There'll be the different liquors like the vodkas and the rums and all that stuff. So I work on not just today what Garage Oil is doing to try to make sales, but what is it that I'm doing to set up the future so that Garage Oil is this really cool lifestyle brand with all kinds of things, merchandise and posters and and different products. So that's what I do every day, is just work to make Garage Oil. I tell everybody it's branding, branding, branding. I want brand awareness so that everybody, even if they don't drink whiskey, they're going to know the name Garage Oil American Badass Whiskey.
Do you have people helping you with this? Because it seems like a lot, and your distribution is already so great. I've already seen, like here in Texas, you've got Austin and San Antonio, and um,
All the way up to Dallas and Houston and College Station, all the way over to Odessa. I mean, we're like 5 months on the market, and there's over 100 places in Texas now you can purchase Garage Oil. That's unheard of to move that fast, because you almost have to pick off each liquor store or bar one at a time.
yeah.
So it's pretty incredible. I'll show you who my number one helper is, though. Okay, just a second. Hey, Beth, come here. Get over here. This is the entity. this
Oh, like so
this is
cute.
my number one employee. Hello. So
Little puppy dog.
that's my employees. It's just me and my dogs, and that's it right now.
Oh my
Now
God.
I do have a business partner named Lanny. He came in as the investor. He heard me on the radio talking about what I was going to do. And that guy, Lanny, he's got other jobs that he does, but he invested in this. So he's not a daily worker, although he's always trying to do something to help me out. He is cool as hell and a badass in his own right, for sure. But when I get up in the morning, there's no employees around me that I can delegate to. So I just got to do it.
I love it. You know, there's something you said earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt. But I have to tell you, we actually buy alcohol for our friends a lot for birthdays and anniversaries or whatever we're celebrating. But you know what? We'll go through and to look for something special, like seeing something in a bottle, like the Garage Oil Spirit.
Yeah.
We would definitely pick that up because I think that would be a great idea to give as a gift as well. Just
I,
something that's so different.
I hear it all the time. And that's a cool thing too, that people think of it as a gift because it is so unique and it is so much fun. And you're kind of telling that person, hey, you're a badass. You need to have this badass whiskey. And by the way, let me talk about that word badass because when I first came up with Garage American Badass Whiskey, I talked to the big people in the liquor industry and they said, hey, you might have some pushback on the name badass when it comes to getting it into certain stores because it's kind of a cuss word. And I said, well, it's kind of used nowadays everywhere. I see it on television. I watch a lot of those auto shows like Bitch and Rides. Everybody talks about their badass car, their badass this. But I said, well, look, let me tell you what my philosophy on the word badass is. Badass isn't the guy going into a bar who gets drunk and tries to start a fight. The badass is that nurse who's in that emergency room working that 24-hour shift,
Yeah.
and she's on her 24th hour and she's still saving lives. She's a badass. It's that IT guy that everybody's computer's about to go down in the office, and this guy comes in and works through the night to make sure you're up and running and you can get your job done and you can get your paycheck. That guy's the badass. The cops are the badass. The firemen are the badass. So we're branding badass as you're that loyal friend, you're that hard worker, you're that person that'll be there in the end that you can always count on. And so that's where that comes from. And that's why it's really fun to give as a gift because you're kind of like saying, you're my badass friend. You need this badass whiskey.
I love it. I love it so much. What do you think has been challenging for you with this?
Not drinking all my whiskey.
Uh-huh.
No. Um, you know, wow, challenging. I didn't know a thing about this. So I had to do all the research. Of course, I knew the bar business, but starting a liquor company is a whole different thing. And not coming in with very much money. What's funny? Remember, so I said that I had lost everything, and the way that I was able to survive, barely to the point where I got an investor was I took my car and I got out there and I did Uber, right? So I'm out there driving Uber, and this was also my test market. What I did is I put up on the back of the headrest these signs that said, "Hey, I'm starting a new whiskey company. If you're interested in investing, give me a call." And I had the number up there, but that would always start conversations with people in the back of the car, and they'd ask me about my whiskey. So that was my way to kind of test out and to see how the public was reacting just to the name, just to the idea. So that was really cool. And people were just like, wow, that sounds awesome. I want to get that. But then what happens is, okay, now the real challenge is, okay, I know people seem like they're going to like it. How do I actually do it? And I mean, I had to set up manufacturing for these bottles. I could not find an American company to make these bespoke custom bottles to my specifications unless I ordered like 1,000,000 pieces on the first go round. And there's no way that we can do that the first time out.
No.
So I had to find a Chinese glass manufacturer where 90% of the glass is made in the world. And then I worked back and forth with them on tolerance to make sure the bottle would go through the process and not break on the corners. I mean, I had to learn all of that and go through that, the injection molding for all these pieces up here. I designed how all this works to snap into place to become part of this bottle. I had to design all that in the computer. Like I said, working on the flavor profile, all of that was 100% foreign to me. So the challenge is saying you're going to do something, all those people I was telling about in the car, and then actually going out and doing it and never having done it before. Yeah. So it took me over 3 years to get it all done and figured out, and then get the investor in here, and then everything just fell together. But the challenge was getting up in the morning, not knowing what to do next, but I'm big on research. I'm big on making phone calls. I'm big on getting information. I call other whiskey makers. I got as much information I could, and I started putting the pieces together, and then I just figured it out. So massive challenge, but super, super fulfilling.
Oh, wow. That is so valuable, what you've just said. This whole interview has been incredible already, and we're not even halfway through.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. So how long did it take you to make your recipe?
It took right out about a full year. And let me tell you how crazy that was. So the base whiskey I purchased from a distillery up in South Carolina. They've been in business since the 1850s or something like that. They were like the 10th whiskey company in the world or in the United States to get their liquor license. So they've been around forever, and they make spirits for all different kinds of brands. So I didn't want to try to get investment to build a distillery right off the bat. I wanted to create the product first, then later on, because those are millions of dollars, then later on we'll build our distillery. But I needed someone to make the whiskey to my specifications. So I chose somebody after looking around, and people would send me different samples. I went with this one company. So now I've got a base spirit that I like. So now I say, okay, I'm going to go out, and here's what I did. I purchased over 70 different little vials of pure flavor extracts that are made specifically to go into flavoring spirits. But then I also add to that crazy stuff like A1 sauce and syrup and just different stuff, because my goal was to take all these flavors and take little eyedroppers. And I'm talking about, because you can't just use a whole bottle of whiskey just for one recipe. So I take just a little whiskey and I take little eyedroppers and I say, okay, now we're going to put in this flavor. Now we're going to put in 2 of these. And so I'd end up just working, not knowing what the end result was, but that my goal was, like I said, to elevate the natural flavors, to make them so that they fit with more things and fit more palates, and to smooth out the burn. So when you have that many to start with, you can imagine when you're only doing 1 little drop or 3 drops of whatever flavor it is at a time, when you start with 70 or more, the combination of 2 drops, 1 drop, it could be millions. So it's like I didn't really know how long or if I could get there. But every day I would make my notes. Okay, I think I could add this or back off of that, or I could do this. And then if I go back to the original, but add that back, and so it's kind of crazy. But after about a year, I remember one night, I go, golly, I think I'm really, really close to something that I think is the final deal. Stop working on it. So I said, let me stop tonight. And I went back and I made my little notes. So I'm going to change these 2 things. I'm going to back off this by a couple drops, add something here. The next morning, I went and did that version, and I put it together, and I smelled it. Woo, it was good. I tasted it, and you can't see it on camera. Just like right now, I literally I went to goosebumps like crazy, because I realized that was it. Don't go any further. What you did was incredible. That flavor is unbelievable. It's so smooth. So I knew I had done something, but it literally took me about a year of trial and error that could have been millions of combinations. And there was no guarantee I was going to get there. But when I did, I knew that year was worth it. And the whole time I'm still out there driving the Uber and telling people it's coming.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so incredible. I can't wait. I wish I would have bought a bottle this weekend. But
Yeah. Drinking it right now.
So,
let me tell you about this bottle real quick.
yes.
So here's what's really interesting. See this little deal right here? I don't know if you can read that. This is the very first bottle that came off the line when we ran our first run of Garage Oil. So I have the very first one that was ever produced, right? And so that's special to me, and I'll never drink that. And that's the first one.
So what was the most rewarding for you in all this?
So, after we went through the process of getting this done, and I knew that the product was going to come out, I had called a radio station that we work with up here in Austin. When I say work with, I mean that they've been very generous to let me get on the radio, talk about what I'm doing. I've been telling them, hey, I'm doing this cool whiskey and it's coming and we're about to release it. So when we knew we were really close and we had made the product, I called the radio station. I said, hey, we're going to do a raffle to give away the very first bottle of Garage Oil ever sold to the public. Not this first one that I kept off the line, because that's not going to be sold, but the first one for someone to buy of day one of sales. We chose a specific liquor store, and we said that's the only liquor store we'll open up that day. And at 10 o'clock when they open up, if people come down and get in line and they you give them a raffle ticket, they put it in the hat. If they're chosen, they get the opportunity to be the first person to buy the first bottle. So we put that on the radio. The day that happened, the liquor store opens up at 10 o'clock. It's a Specs liquor store up here in Cedar Park. And so remember, this is a raffle, and it's not about what position you are in line. At by 8:30 in the morning, there was a line wrapped around that building.
Oh.
People wanted to get, I know, right?
Oh,
People
my
wanted
God,
to get to buy the very first bottle because they believe, even though it had never been out yet, just something about this thing already feels iconic. They just felt it was important to get that first bottle if they could, ever sold. So we go in there and everybody's in line. I show up in my car. I have this cool car that's all wrapped up with my stuff. And as I show up, all these people are clapping and cheering, going, holy crap, what's going on, you know? So I go to everybody and I said, okay, we're gonna do this raffle. And the person that wins that will get that, right to buy it. But I said, all of you who are in line today, if you want me to, I'll stay here and sign all your bottles, because I told the first one, I'll sign that first bottle saying first bottle ever sold. I said, but if you guys want, I'll also sign yours, sold the first day if you want me to do that.
Yes.
So, that liquor store, they decided to start the process. They ordered 90 bottles. They didn't know what was going to happen. They probably thought they'd have that for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So they ordered 90 bottles. Do you know, we sold those 90 bottles in 20 minutes.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
The only reason it took 20 minutes is because that's how long it took them to check them out, each person.
Oh my gosh.
And then every person that bought a bottle stood in line again, and I signed 90 bottles.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool start to this whole thing. And it really set the tone. I said, man, we're off and
on
running.
the track. Yeah, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Speaking of tracks, don't you have something else that's coming up? Is it anything you can share?
Which track? What track?
Maybe with like NASCAR?
Oh, yeah. So this little company is just kicking some butt. Already just a few months old. We're already sponsoring NASCAR stuff. We've already worked with 3 races with the Preston Partis team, Car 91 with Xfinity NASCAR. We were just up in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the last race up there. Absolutely incredible. Our logos there on the back of the quarter panels of the car, and here we are, little garage oil up there with the big boys at NASCAR. And so by next year, we should be like wrapping the full car like those big companies do. And let me tell you, it's super exciting. It's super like unreal that we're already getting to that kind of a position with our company, but it's also super expensive. So we've got to make sure the company continues to do well, because my whole goal was that I said when I made this thing that it was not just going to be a whiskey to release, it was going to be a marketing juggernaut, that it was so identifiable, that it was so in people's faces out there. So if we can get on national TV with NASCAR, and we've got all kinds of things that we're sponsoring, that we're the title sponsor on, including this. I don't know if I told you this, but this will blow your mind. One of the other really amazing things that we're doing is I've created a Badass of the Year award. And the Badass of the Year award is for doing humanitarian deeds and charity work and selfless acts and patriotism. And so we've already set up with 2 different award ceremonies, the Texas Country Music Awards being held up at the Stockyards up there in Fort Worth in November. And then in October, we're going to be doing it at the Josie Music Awards. And that is the kind of the Independent Artist Awards. It's kind of like Independent Spirit Awards, but for country music and music. And it's becoming so big out there in Nashville that this year it's on at the Grand Ole Opry. So I'm going to be on stage in October at the Grand Ole Opry, giving away the Badass of the Year award for somebody who's done some really amazing humanitarian deeds. And we've developed an award that's being processed right now, or produced, I should say. And it is a replica of the bottle on a base that has why we're giving the award, and then the plaque down here about who got it, and it's Badass of the Year 2022. So that is another way that now we're going to be in Nashville and Grand Ole Opry, and we're starting this process of, we'll do this in all kind of professions for the Badass of the Year. So NASCAR and award shows, and we promote concerts and car shows. So we want Garage Oil to be out there everywhere.
Oh, that's incredible. Now, if someone wants to get some, you can actually order it, right?
You can go on the website at garageoilspirits.com, and you can go into the Get You Some page. And on that page, there's a home delivery little link there, and you can get it delivered in over 30 states. Or you can just go, if you live here in Texas, you can just go on the retail sales link And I've got all the locations in Texas where you can just walk into a place and buy it, whether it's a liquor store or a bar or restaurant. So all that information is on garageoilspirits.com on how you can get it right now here in Texas, or have it delivered to you if you don't live here.
So what do you feel that you've learned along this journey?
Oh, when I was in those dark days and I had lost my passion, I had lost my direction, I learned that you can never give up on what's deep inside you. Oh. If you lose touch of you, what your heart and soul's about, you're aimless, you're directionless. But get back in touch, find that spirit in yourself that makes you feel more alive than anything. What is it about life that just energizes you, excites you? And get back in touch with that and say, no matter what, I pursue that. I live that as my reality. I'm a full believer in the saying, perception is reality. If I'm living this world and I'm saying tomorrow, these great things are going to happen, and I get up in the morning and I'm determined and I make my steps one at a time forward, it always happens. So it was just to remember to keep the passion alive, make sure I know what it is that makes me feel purposeful and that makes me feel like my journey in life has a reason, and that when I'm gone, at least there'll be some legacy that said, no matter what, he sure gave it his best shot.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So what would you tell someone they're wanting to start their own business?
I think people always tell you, you just have to do it, go out and do it. And 100% you have to. But really, really tell yourself the toughest boss you'll ever have if you want to make it should be yourself. Like I said, I don't take any days off. I work myself to the bone, and I'm harder on myself than anybody. So you've got to go in saying, I want this so much that I'm willing to do what the next person won't do. And I'm going to be the person who's going to ring the bell saying it's work time. So find out what it is you really want to do, and then tell yourself, am I ready to work this hard? Because it's going to be one hell of a hard journey, because things just don't fall in people's laps and it's easy. And, here you go, your life's made for you. If you tell yourself, I'm going to do this no matter what, that I will not stop, then all it is, it's a matter of educating yourself on what it is that you want to do and have to do, and what are the tools you can use to help you get there. What's the information? What's the education? Put all that together. And then for me, the biggest thing is I make plans. I say, day one, this is what I want to learn, figure out, get to day two. And then I just start putting these lists together of my plans. But I also look at a forecast. I say, okay, this is day one. At the end of year one, I want to be here. So on that arc of getting from one to year one, what are the points on the arc that I have to hit to make sure I do get to that? And then I go to year two, and then I go to year 5, and then I go to year 10. And so all along the way, I know where I'm going, what I'm doing, how hard I have to work, and what I am going to do to not stop and get those points done to get to my end goals.
Oh, I love it. This is incredible. Incredible. So what is advice that you give to someone with a passion that just doesn't know where to start? I mean, basically, I guess that would be the same thing.
Well, it is, except I can tell you this, because you probably have found this out yourself. You've got a passion for what you do, right?
Yes.
Do you ever have these people? I've had it all my life. I was so passionate about my film and television career, and I'm so passionate about this whiskey journey I'm on. Yes. People always say to me, oh my God, I wish I had a passion for something the way you do for what you're doing. And it makes me kind of sad, because I can't even imagine not having a passion for life. So people often feel that they don't really, they kind of don't have a goal. They don't see themselves somewhere. So I tell people, so look around in life. Like when you find yourself smiling and you're not really sure why, stop and recognize and go, what am I smiling about? What is this feeling that it's making me smile? What is the experience I'm having? What is the industry that I'm looking at that's making me smile? And if you're smiling or feeling good about something, that's the world telling you you're being driven towards that. So even if you don't know your passion now, just stop yourself when you're smiling and happy in an environment that wouldn't be about a comedy routine or sitting down, having some garage with friends, just, having fun. But I'm talking about when you're in life and you're either watching it or you're experiencing it on whether it's television or you're in an office building. But if somehow you get a feeling that feels really warm and fuzzy and happy, tell yourself that's a real feeling. Start figuring out, do I want to do that as a business? And then start to get involved a little bit, and you'll know if you have a passion because you'll be insatiable with learning more tomorrow. Oh my God, I can't wait to get up tomorrow and do this more and figure out more. And then by the end of the week, you go, oh my gosh, I'm going to be great at this. Then by the end of the year, you go, I'm actually doing it.
Oh my God, I love it. So I noticed that you have always had this, there's this passion in you for everything that you do in the film. I watched a video. You sent me a link today, and I watched the video and for Ned Venture, and it's a teen movie, but it's very inspiring, and it's about just I guess you'd say just doing the right and the wrong things, but then you also are giving back. Everything you do, you find a way to give back. And I think that is so incredible.
Well, the way I look at it is, so if we all kind of banded together and we did a little bit that goes beyond ourselves, like we all want to help our own situation. We want to have a comfortable life and a secure home and a place that we can call, our safe place, and good people around us and a reliable car and all these things that we want and need that are normal. But, we also want to strive and say, hey, can I achieve certain things? But along that journey, you really have to make sure you don't focus just on yourself. Because if I'm able to help somebody else on their journey as somebody else is helping me, then we're all kind of creating a link, right? And if we all create these links and we're all in it together, the amount of energy for goodness is astronomical. So I always believe, and for me, honestly, it's as minute as a smile. If I'm in some place and I see somebody that's not really having a great day and we make eye contact or I'm saying something for some reason, I give them a nice big smile and tell them have a great day. And, I try to put out some energy that's positive. I'm the guy that's going to open that door for you when your hands are full of groceries, or I'm going to make sure that that other people out in this world are also thinking about you, even though I don't know you. I want you to have a good day too. I'm going to try to have a good day, and I'd like you to have one as well. It doesn't hurt me. It makes me feel like, I'm doing something a little extra today that might change a little bit. But then later on, when you actually have the ability, like you mentioned, that video I sent you, that was from winning the best feature film in the Los Angeles World Film Festival. And we didn't know we were going to win it, but what I did prior to the show was I called up the theater owner and I said, listen, I want to do something more. I'm coming to Los Angeles for this festival, but I want to do more than just come and try to get an award. I'd like to turn this into something that could help people if I can. So I said, if I can get these folks from a shelter situation to be able to come by and sit and watch the film and feel as though they're doing something normal again. They're not in the streets. This is a place called the Dream Machine in LA, and they put people in situations where they identify people that are really like a family unit who are just on the cusp where they've lost their jobs and whatever, and they're either about to be homeless, they've just become homeless, and they want to get those folks into a safe environment and then give them tools to be able to reorganize and go out and start their family again. So I said, let me take these folks that may not have been able to go to the movies for a long time as a family, may not be able to dress up and do things because their life hasn't been about that way. It's been about struggling and barely surviving or being on the streets. So I called, he said, absolutely, if you get that together, I'll make sure there's seats available. Then I called a busing company and I told them the story. I said, would you provide busing to get these folks down here so they have transportation? Yep, we're in, Ron. So I got over 200 people from the shelters to come down in buses and get in this big theater in LA where it was a big film festival. the World International Film Festival in LA. For them, if they've never experienced anything like it, it's probably like kind of going to the Academy Awards. They got dressed up. So they, oh my gosh, I'm getting all teary-eyed.
Yeah.
They show up in buses, and these little kids are getting off the bus with their parents. And people say, well, Ron Stone over there is making sure you guys are coming out today to have this fun. They'd run up and hug me, and I don't even know these little kids, and they're telling me, thank you, thank you, thank you, and we're so excited. So then they all get to go in the theater like a family again and have fun and dressed up with tonight's not about problems. Tonight's about beauty and fun. And then the movie is about overcoming obstacles in life, doing the right thing in life, being rewarded for doing the right thing in life, and making sure that you also let the world know it's okay to do the right thing and to give back, and you'll achieve your own goals. And so the movie's about that, and we wanted to share that with those folks. And then the cherry on top was, at the end of it, we get called up as the best film. So then we have that whole thing. They interview me, but I didn't want to just make it about me. So I saw somebody when I was in the theater watching the film. There was a lady to the left of me, a quadriplegic in this wheelchair. And so I didn't want to let her know I was watching her, but out of the side of my eye, I'd look over and I'd see her looking up at the screen with this huge smile on her face. And she's moving her head and she's dancing in her seat, but she can't move her body, but she's so happy. So when I was being interviewed by the interview person, I asked if this lady could come over and we could talk to her. And if you saw that interview, you know what happened. She said I was dancing in my seat. And I knew that that's what the goal of that film was to touch people and to make people smile and give them a respite from the hard times of life. And so that, and I've had experiences like that with that film all over the world. Those moments with that film are what made it worth it. Whether or not it made $1 million or it made $10 or won awards everywhere, it didn't matter. It was those people that got that experience for those 2 hours. They got away from the hardship of life, and I was able to provide that moment. And that made me feel like a superhero because something I did helped people, and that's what I want to do. Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
You gave them hope. I mean, I guarantee you that you touched and inspired 200 people, and that's who you invited to it. So I know you inspired every person with it. Even watching the video, it gave me goosebumps. Listening to the lady talking about it, and I hate to let you go. Is there anything else you want to share? I could talk to you all day long because I just keep getting goosebumps, and it's incredible.
You know, I just really want, for me, the thing that I want to give off in life more than anything is that, you know, in your daily life, in this moment by moment world that we live in, and it just seems like, especially now, we're being bombarded all the time by negativity. And I'm sorry, I'm still kind of emotional for that story, but we're being bombarded with negative things and political things and social issues, and people are just making, everything is so tight right now. Like you can't make a move without somebody criticizing or having an opinion. It's like, let's just all calm down for a minute. We need to have fun again in life. And we do that by managing our own worlds, letting people know, in my life, yes, I have the same stresses that you do, but I'm going to present a face to the world that says, but it doesn't matter. We all have these challenges. We can still have an enormously beautiful life and a beautiful day. And the easiest way to do that is to help somebody else have a beautiful day. So that's what my mission is just to, man, I kill myself with work. I am a workaholic, crazy, stay up all night type of working person. But it's because there's a mission here. Like, you find a mission, you find a purpose, and there isn't really anything that can stop you. Because when it's bigger than you, you're only a part of it. You're driving it, but you're also inside this massive boulder that's rolling, and you get the opportunity to make some difference. That allows you to work through the hard times, and it allows you to stop sometimes. Just like that moment from that video we were just talking about. You look and go, okay, you see, the hard work is worth it.
Yeah.
That is why we're alive.
Yeah.
Oh, amen. Bless you. I wish you the best. And y'all go try this. Go try his whiskey. Order it online. You know, go to the store if you're here in Texas, because I'm gonna get some this week. I promise you. And you're gonna see me posting it, drinking it. Because I've even seen the testimonials, like women not even, really don't really care for whiskey, but they tried it and they loved it.
Yeah.
So the testimonials, I mean, they're on your page. Incredible.
Well, Bonnie Lang, can I thank you not only for the interview, but you have that spirit too. Your spirit just emanates from you, and it goes the distance. In other words, you're all the way down there in San Antonio. You're on my little screen here, but I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling the Bonnie Lang that's out in the world. That's what I love about people. That's what I love about you, and I appreciate what you're doing as well. So thank you for that, and thanks for having me on today.
Oh, and I'm gonna have to have you back. We're gonna have to do this again. You're
Oh
incredible.
yeah, lots of things to talk about.
Thank you.
This was so incredibly inspiring, don't you think? I want to say thank you so much for listening. The whole purpose of this podcast is to get you going, get you feeling good about yourself, and get you inspired about what really ignites your fire. Whether it's being the best mom in the world or dad, or just getting really fit, anything that you dream, you can do. You just gotta be showing up every day, in good days and bad. If you're doing what you love, if you have a dream, a passion that you want to chase, I'd love to hear it. If you're enjoying these episodes, share them with a friend. If you have any topics you want to discuss, please send me a message. And check out my previous episodes too. They are all so incredibly inspiring. I wish you peace, love, happiness, and hugs. And don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day.